How often do you think of him now?
Oh, every day and every minute. I have a necklace that I'm wearing under here that has his name on it.
For over 2 decades, 22 years old, Lexi Jones, their only child together, has lived almost entirely away from the spotlight. And now, we are finally catching a glimpse. And when I say you won't believe what she looks like now, I mean you seriously might need to sit down. We're not just talking about looks here, so don't go anywhere. Don't skip. Don't scroll. Because by the time we get to the end of this video, you're going to feel like you just time-traveled through a love story, a legacy, and a life that's only just beginning to shine. A childhood in the spotlight, yet hidden. David Bowie was the guy who literally reinvented music and fashion, and his wife, Iman, is the supermodel who basically owned every runway in the 90s. You'd think their daughter would have been in the spotlight from day one, right? Paparazzi in the driveway, red carpet appearances before she could even walk. The whole 9 yards. But no, that's where it gets interesting, because their daughter, Alexandria Zara Jones, who everyone lovingly calls Lexi, was raised in this weirdly normal, kind of magical little bubble, far away from all that chaos. And it was very intentional. Like, they made sure of it. From the moment Lexi was born, her parents had this unshakable agreement. Their daughter's life would not be public property. They did allow one tiny peek into their world when she was just a newborn, giving Hello Magazine an exclusive interview. But even then, Bowie was super clear. That interview, he said it would be her first and last. What happens when two of the most iconic people on the planet, a fashion goddess and a rock legend, have a baby? You get someone who might just stop you in your tracks. But what does she look like now, after 22 years away from the spotlight? Is she walking in her mom's stylish footsteps, or following her dad's cosmic trail? Stick around, because the transformation you're about to see might just make your jaw hit the floor. Most celebs post their baby's ultrasound on Instagram before the kid's even born. But Bowie and Iman were on a completely different wavelength. They weren't interested in selling a brand. They just wanted to raise their daughter in peace. And Iman? Oh, she was fierce about it. That's some mama lion levels of protective. In an interview years later, she admitted that Lexi used to call her overprotective. Can't you just hear that mother-daughter banter? But Iman wasn't backing down. She told Lexi, "This can all wait. It's not going anywhere. Have a life that is private while you can, because one day soon, it is going to be public." And honestly, that might be some of the best advice any celebrity kid has ever gotten. Even when Lexi turned 18, that age when everyone starts making decisions, testing waters, figuring life out. I mean, you'd think maybe she'd take a stab at modeling, right? She is stunning, after all. And not surprisingly, agencies and fashion designers were practically lining up at the door. They all reached out to Iman, practically foaming at the mouth, like, "If she's interested, we'd love to have her model." But Iman didn't even flinch. Her answer was a straight-up, "No, she doesn't." Because here's the thing, Iman saw right through it. They weren't chasing Lexi for her talent or passion, though she's clearly got both. They wanted the Bowie name, and that just didn't sit right. But just because Lexi's life was private doesn't mean it was dull. Far from it. If anything, it sounds like she had a really beautiful, down-to-earth upbringing. The Jones family made their home in New York, where Lexi did regular kid stuff, like school drop-offs, soccer practice, music lessons, you know, normal things. No limos pulling up to school. No flashing cameras at ballet recitals, just life. And maybe that's why there's something so genuine about her now. One story that's just so adorable and kind of hilarious was when she was about 7. She saw a poster of her dad as Ziggy Stardust. You know, that wild, otherworldly character Bowie created with the red hair and glam makeup? And you'd expect a kid to be like, "Whoa, what is this?" But no, Lexi's only question was, "But why is he called Bowie?" Like, that was the weird part to her. Not the glitter, not the red mullet, not the whole alien from Mars aesthetic, just the name. Iman later joked, "That's a New York girl." And honestly, she's got a point. Kids in New York have seen everything. And the bond Lexi had with her parents? So strong. Even now, years later, you can feel the closeness when she shares little moments on social media. Like that video she posted, "Oh my gosh, it'll melt your heart," where baby Lexi is sitting on Bowie's lap, singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow with him. And she captioned it, "My Wizard of Oz." Isn't that just, so tender? It's like you're seeing a whole other side of Bowie. Not the rock god, not the fashion icon, just a dad. There's another video, too, where Lexi's standing on his toes while they dance together. It's such a simple, sweet moment, and it reminds you, these were real people, real parents, behind the glam and fame and legend. When Bowie passed away in 2016, Lexi was only 15, and despite the heartbreak, she found such a touching way to honor him. She got a crescent moon tattoo with the words, "Daddy XX 1947-2016. Just thinking about it gives you goosebumps, doesn't it? And her relationship with her mom? Still rock solid. Even through tough times, like during the COVID lockdowns, when they were stuck on opposite coasts for 6 whole months. Lexi posted on Instagram, practically pleading with people to take the lockdown seriously. "Everyone, please stay inside. I haven't seen my mom for 6 months." You could just feel how much she missed her. It wasn't about celebrity. It was about a girl wanting her mom. Now, she often posts little shout-outs to Iman, photos, captions, memories. You can see how much love is still there, how much respect, how much gratitude. It's not performative. It's not for clout. It's just a daughter celebrating her mom. And that's really the heart of it all, isn't it? Behind the headlines and fame and legacy, there's this real girl with a real family. Living as the child of 2 global icons could have been chaos. It could have been one of those cautionary tales we always hear about. Celebrity kids losing themselves in fame before they even get a chance to grow up. But Lexi, she got something rare, something precious. She got space, she got privacy. She got love, without the cameras. And thanks to 2 fiercely devoted parents who understood exactly what the spotlight could do, she got to be a kid first and a celebrity's daughter second. And isn't that kind of the dream? Discovering her own identity. Lexi Jones isn't just another celebrity kid riding the wave of her parents' fame. Let me tell you, she's something else entirely. While some kids are busy doing the whole "I'm famous because my parents are famous" routine, Lexi said a big fat no thanks to all of that. Can you imagine growing up with 2 literal legends as parents and still managing to find your own voice without using their spotlight as a shortcut? That's exactly what she did. She carved her own little artistic lane with nothing but her raw talent. Some paintbrushes, and that quiet determination you just can't fake. And honestly, that takes guts. So let's rewind a bit. When Lexi turned 18, her mom Iman, who is forever goals, by the way, posted these beautiful celebratory photos on social media, just being a proud mama, you know? And boom, Just like that, the fashion world went wild. Agents, designers, brands, you name it. They were all basically climbing over each other, foaming at the mouth, desperate to get Lexi to model for them. And not because they'd seen her portfolio or her runway walk. No, it was purely because she was David Bowie's daughter. Like, how obvious can you get? And you know what's even better? Iman didn't even blink. She shut it all down. No hesitation, no, maybe let's think about it. Just a solid protective no. She doesn't want that. And not in a controlling way either, but in that deeply mama bear way that says, my daughter is not a product for your nostalgia. Can we give Iman a round of applause for that? What's so beautiful about it is that Iman knew what they were really after. She told Porter magazine, I know why they wanted her to model. It's because she is David Bowie's daughter. There was no mystery, no pretending. And Lexi, she didn't fall for the trap either. She could have easily said yes, smiled for a few cameras, and let the world praise her for being gorgeous, which she is, let's be real. But instead, she stayed grounded and focused on something deeper, something real. Because here's the truth, Lexi was never trying to be the next it girl on the runway. She was just trying to figure out who she is, away from all that noise. And that journey, it's so raw and so relatable. She once wrote in this deeply personal poem released with her music, I'm not a copy, not a shadow. I'm just a girl that's as confused as you. Doesn't that just hit you right in the chest? Despite being born into this life of luxury and fame, she's over here being vulnerable, admitting she's confused, trying to navigate life like any other young woman trying to figure stuff out. Isn't that kind of refreshing? In a world full of curated selfies and perfect personas, Lexi's just being honest. And that kind of honesty is rare. Now, where did all this passion and creativity come from? Well, turns out art's been her thing since forever. Art has been a rock in my life for as long as I can remember, she once shared on Instagram, and it makes so much sense. I mean, when life around you is that loud, paparazzi, public expectations, constant comparisons, sometimes you just need something quiet, something steady. For Lexi, that was painting. She said she took art classes as a kid, but didn't really start taking it seriously until her mid-teens. And once she did, oh, she really found herself. Her art is bold and beautiful and kind of haunting in the best way. We're talking distorted faces, abstract figures, big emotional strokes, all of it just bursting with feeling. She even said that painting, sketching, and illustrating is like her meditation. And when she's creating, she feels like she's freeing herself from all the stuff in her head. You ever have one of those days where your brain just won't shut up and you want to scream into a pillow? Yes, that's the kind of energy Lexi puts into her work, except instead of screaming, she turns it into something. Something you can look at and actually feel. Like, isn't that kind of magical? But wait, it doesn't stop there. Because just when you think she's just this wildly talented visual artist, she goes and drops her music. And the way she did it? So low-key. In 2021, she posted this song she wrote and recorded, and you could feel the nerves in her caption. She literally wrote, I'm absolutely terrified to post this. I keep going back and forth between hating it and liking it, but F it. And honestly, who hasn't felt that way about putting something personal out into the world? That kind of raw courage? That's what makes Lexi different. She's not trying to be polished or perfect. She's just being real. And fast forward to April 2025, she finally did it. Lexi quietly released her debut album, Zandri. It's a 12-track masterpiece with songs like Along the Road, Moving On, and The Rush of the Absurd. The title Xandri actually comes from a Greek word meaning defender of mankind, and the album cover? It shows two faces splitting from the same head. Like, how deep is that? It's literally a visual metaphor for her internal battle with identity, with trying to be herself in a world that insists on defining her by her parents. She didn't just drop an album, she told a story. Her story. At the same time, she launched her own art brand and website, because of course she did. She's out here building her own little creative universe. She sells fine art prints, clothing with her designs, and accessories that show off her aesthetic. And it's not just merch, it's like an extension of who she is. Everything she puts out into the world is soaked in meaning, intention, and that hard-earned independence. And you know what's beautiful? Through all of it, her art, her music, her style, she's doing it all as Alexandria Zara Jones, not as Bowie's daughter, not as Iman's kid, but as her own person. Isn't that kind of the dream for any of us? To stand on our own 2 feet, carve our own path and say, "This is me. Take it or leave it." So, if you ask me, Lexi Jones isn't just the daughter of legends. She's a legend in the making, and not because of who raised her, but because of who she's choosing to become. On her own terms, in her own time, and with a whole lot of heart. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but what if the tree is David Bowie, and the apple is raised by a supermodel like Iman? You're about to find out what their daughter looks like today. And trust us, it's not what anyone expected. Has she inherited Bowie's otherworldly charm or Iman's runway-ready looks? Don't blink, and whatever you do, don't leave early. The reveal at the end is absolutely worth it. Struggles, healing, and self-discovery. Behind all the art and music and quiet strength, Lexi Jones shows the world today there's this deeply human, gut-wrenching, and honestly, kind of soul-searching story that most people don't fully see. Like, have you ever looked at someone who's just naturally talented and thought, wow, they've probably had it easy? But then you hear their story, and it just hits you like, oh wait, life wasn't just hard. It was earth-shatteringly painful. That's exactly what Lexi Jones has lived through. The daughter of David Bowie and Iman, yes, those legends. Lexi was born into a world full of fame and glitter and attention. But when you peel all of that back, there's a little girl who lost her dad when she was only 15. I mean, think about that for a second. 15, still trying to figure out who you are? Probably arguing over curfews or what to wear to school, and then, bam! Your dad, your hero, the man who made the world stop with his music, is just gone. Just like that. And not just any dad, by the way. David Bowie, a man so monumental in music and culture that entire generations claim him as their icon. So imagine having to grieve someone who wasn't just your father, but also the world's legend. There's no manual for that. No easy way to grieve privately when everyone else is also publicly mourning the man who raised you. And Lexi? She didn't pretend to be okay. She didn't sugarcoat it. In fact, years later, 8 to be exact, she came forward with a brutally honest blog post where she literally opened up her soul and said, "I confused living life with surviving life's days." Doesn't it just stop you in your tracks? She talked about how she spiraled, how she tried to fill this deep, aching hole with whatever numbed her. Toxins, poison, anger. She admitted she'd become someone even she didn't recognize, and it broke her heart because she used to be this sweet, gentle little girl. And then grief came, and it changed everything. But here's the part that makes you want to root for her with everything you've got. She didn't stay lost. She didn't let the darkness win. Little by little, piece by piece, Lexi started clawing her way back to herself. And how did she do it? Through art, through poetry, through music. Like, how beautiful is that? She didn't push the pain away, she channeled it. She turned it into brush strokes and verses and eventually melodies. Because for Lexi, art wasn't just something to do, it was survival. Her way of screaming without making a sound, of healing without having to explain every wound. She even said it herself. Art has always been a coping mechanism to get out of dark places. And honestly, if that doesn't resonate on some level, are you even human? By the time she released her debut album Xandri in April 2024, it wasn't just a collection of songs. It was a diary, a confession, a love letter, a reckoning. It was years of sadness, longing, confusion, and quiet resilience woven into sound. And right before the album dropped, she posted this incredibly touching childhood video of herself singing with her dad. No flashy edits, no filters, just a daughter and her father, frozen in a moment that now feels like a different lifetime. The caption, 7 years ago today, I miss you. That's it. Simple, honest. No need for dramatic flair, because the ache said it all. And then there's her poetry. She lays it all bare. The pressure, the assumptions, the constant comparisons. I'm the daughter of a legend, but I'm more than just his name, she wrote. And wow, what a line. Because people love to throw around legacy and bloodline like it's this glamorous burden. But Lexi is here like, hey, I'm still a person. I'm not just a reflection. She even goes on to say, I'm not a copy, not a shadow. I'm just a girl that's as confused as you. And honestly, that line might be the most honest thing anyone has said in a long time. Because it's raw. It's not polished or rehearsed. It's just real. Over time, Lexi started doing the hard work, the really hard work, of forgiving herself, of accepting the messy parts of her past, and finally letting go of the guilt, the shame, the weight she'd been carrying. She wrote in that same post that she's stopped trying to fill her dad's shoes. She's not interested in becoming the next David Bowie, because, let's be real, there will never be another David Bowie. And Lexi knows that. What she's trying to do is something even harder. She's trying to find peace. And isn't that what we all want at the end of the day? What does the daughter of a fashion icon and a music legend even look like? Is it possible to live up to both of those legacies? We finally have an answer. And after 22 years, this is one glow up you do not want to miss. But there's a twist in her story that'll surprise you, so don't go anywhere. Seriously, you'll want to watch till the very end for the full picture. Lexi, today, a life of art, love, and legacy. At 24, Alexandria. Lexi Jones is really stepping into her own, and honestly, it's kind of beautiful to watch. Like, imagine growing up with two icons as your parents. David Bowie, the forever legend, and Iman, a literal goddess of grace and elegance, and still somehow managing to be grounded, soft-spoken, and totally her own person. That's Lexi for you. She's not trying to live in anyone's shadow, but she's also not pretending the shadows don't exist. It's like she's got this quiet strength, this unshakable sense of self that says, yes, I know where I come from, but watch where I'm going. Doesn't that kind of confidence just make you stop and smile? Lately, she's been giving us tiny windows into her life. Nothing loud or over the top, Just real and sweet moments that feel so personal you almost want to whisper thank you when you see them. Like her new relationship. Oh my God, it's the softest thing. Lexi and her boyfriend, a British musician named Sonny James, and yes, his name sounds like he stepped out of a romance novel, have been slowly letting the world in. A few Instagram posts here and there, but enough to make you feel like you're witnessing something really sincere. One post in particular, I swear it could melt stone, showed them at a picnic. Lexi sitting cross-legged on a blanket, just gazing at Sonny like there was nowhere else she'd rather be. The sunlight was doing that thing where it falls just right, and you could almost hear the birds chirping in the background. And then there's that video clip of them playing music together. Sonny strumming the guitar, Lexi singing softly, their voices weaving in and out like they were born to harmonize. She captioned it with just one word: besotted. Like, who even uses that word anymore? And yet, it was perfect. Right now, Lexi lives in California, soaking up that laid-back West Coast vibe, and honestly, it suits her. You can just tell. She made the move to LA back in 2020, probably looking for space to grow, to create, to be, away from the buzz of New York, where her mom, Iman, still lives. But don't get it twisted. The distance hasn't dulled their bond one bit. If anything, Lexi makes sure we know how much her mom still means to her. She's always posting little tributes, usually soft and subtle, like a photo from back in the day where she's hugging her mom, captioned with something like, "Love you to bits." It's the kind of thing that feels like it wasn't posted for the world. It was posted for her mom, and we're just lucky enough to see it. And speaking of tributes, she hasn't let a single anniversary of her father's passing go by without a moment of reflection. The seventh one was especially emotional. She shared this old video of her as a tiny girl, maybe 4 or 5, sitting at a keyboard next to her dad, David freaking Bowie, and he's just being dad, you know? Laughing, playing, showing her chords. It wasn't staged. It wasn't for show. It was love, caught on tape. She captioned it with a few simple words. 7 years ago today, I miss you. Just that. No drama, no poetic overthinking, just the raw truth. And then there was that clip of them singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow together. Can you even imagine how surreal that must have felt to post? But she did it. She called him her Wizard of Oz. And tell me, that didn't put a lump in your throat. What's really interesting, though, is how Lexi seems to be walking this tightrope between honoring her family's legacy and gently carving out a life that's completely hers. Like, how do you live a normal life when your dad was a rock god and your mom is a literal icon? Wouldn't that be so overwhelming? But Lexi, she's taking it slow. She's showing up online when she wants to, retreating when she needs to. She's sharing music, love, art, and tiny slices of her day-to-day, not for clout, not to go viral, but because it feels genuine to her. It's like she knows exactly who she is, even if the rest of us are still figuring it out. And don't you just admire that kind of quiet, grounded energy? She's not screaming for attention. She's not trying to prove anything. She's just being. And somehow, that makes her even more magnetic. You find yourself rooting for her, wanting to see what kind of music she'll release, or what painting she'll post next. Because yes, she paints too. Or where her love story with Sonny will go. You wonder, is she planning to do more with music? Will she step fully into the public eye someday? Or is she totally content with this soft, slow, intentional pace? Whatever the case, Lexi Jones is proof that you can come from legends, carry that weight, and still live lightly. You can be the daughter of icons and still write your own script. And honestly, she's just getting started. Her tattoo and symbolic gestures. So get this, on the second anniversary of David Bowie's passing, his daughter Lexi did something so touching it'll honestly stay with you for a while. She went and got a crescent moon tattoo, and inside it, in this sweet little handwritten font, it said, Daddy XX. Underneath, the years 1947 to 2016. Doesn't that just tug at your heartstrings? You can practically feel the love and grief all wrapped into that tiny piece of ink. And here's the beautiful part. She didn't do it alone. Her mom, Iman, who we all know adored David beyond words, got her own tribute too. She chose a Bowie knife, a real Bowie knife, etched with the name David on the handle. Like, how poetic is that? A Bowie knife for Bowie. It's edgy, symbolic, and just dripping with emotion. And when she posted the photo of their matching tributes, she captioned it, "You will always be part of us." And Lexi didn't stop there. Later on, she got another tattoo that's just as meaningful. This time a lion on her shoulder. But not just any lion. Hidden in the design was Arabic script that spelled out both her name and Iman's. Can you picture it? A fierce, graceful lion standing strong, carrying the names of the two most important women in each other's lives. It's like she carries both their strength and love with her, literally etched into her skin. Isn't that the most beautiful way to honor your family? But here's what makes Lexi's story so fascinating. She's not trying to live in her dad's shadow, not even close. She's carving out her own lane, on her own terms. Like, how do you even begin to find your identity when your father is, well, David Bowie? That's no small legacy to carry. And yet, Lexi is doing it with this quiet grace and authenticity that's honestly so inspiring. She recently shared a poem, and one line really hits you. "I'm not trying to fill his shoes. I'm just trying to find my own peace." Isn't that such a grounded, wise thing to say? Especially from someone so young. She's not here to be a carbon copy of her dad. She's here to figure out who she is. You can really feel that everything she does is done with care and a sense of purpose. She's got this soft strength to her. Like, she's not shouting to be seen, but if you look, you'll see. She's built something beautiful from her grief and her love. She's creating her own legacy, one that stands beside her father's instead of behind it. Isn't that kind of amazing? And maybe that's the most heartwarming thing about Lexi. She's showing that you can deeply honor the people you love, those you've lost, and still find your own light. She's not just Bowie's daughter. She's Lexi, and she's slowly, beautifully, becoming someone the world will know in her own right. Honestly, don't we all just want to find our own peace while carrying the love that shaped us? With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.